I always thought that when people talked about empty nest syndrome, they were exaggerating. I loved my son more than life itself, but I also had my own routines, my own hobbies, and a small peaceful life I had built after my husband passed away. Evan grew up, got married, and started his own journey, just like he was supposed to. I never clung to him, never interfered, never demanded weekly visits or long check-in calls. I let him live, but somehow, despite all that distance, despite all that respect I tried so hard to give, I still ended up being the problem dot, or at least in Sierra's eyes, I was. Evan married Sierra 2 years ago, and from the beginning, she made it clear that she came from a different world. Her parents had money, real money, and she grew up expecting the kind of life where everything is curated, controlled, and polished. Meanwhile, I'm the kind of woman who clips coupons, finds joy in potluck dinners, and reuses plastic grocery bags until the handles start breaking. She never outright insulted me, but she didn't hide her irritation either. I walked too slowly. I talked too much. I asked questions she thought were unnecessary. I bought her birthday gifts she didn't find aesthetic. I made casseroles that weren't clean enough for her diet. Still, I tried. God knows I tried. Because I loved my son. And loving him meant accepting the woman he chose. So when Evan called me 3 days before the trip, a trip I didn't even know existed, I had to force myself not to sound surprised. "Mom," he said, cheerful, breathless. "Guess what? We're going on a cruise." I smiled into the phone, though something sank inside me. "That sounds wonderful, sweetheart. Where to?" "The Caribbean. 7 days, all inclusive. Sierra's parents gifted it to us." "That's lovely." There was a pause, just long enough for me to feel something was wrong. "Yeah. We were gonna tell you earlier," Evan continued, "but with work and everything. You know, I understand, honey. I mean, it's more of a couples type thing. Very romantic. You know how those are." I laughed softly, though it felt like swallowing needles. "Oh, believe me, I do. Your father and I went on one once. You two enjoy yourselves." He sighed quietly, the kind of sigh people let out when they're relieved the conversation didn't explode. After we hung up, I sat quietly in my living room, staring at the wall. I didn't want to go. That wasn't the issue. I'm not the clingy type, not the mother who inserts herself where she's not wanted. But something about the way Evan explained it, the hesitation, the guilt, made it painfully clear. Sierra didn't want me there. Not just on the trip. In their lives. I might have let it go. I might have swallowed the pain and moved on. But then the message came. My phone buzzed with a text. Message. From Sierra. Except it wasn't meant for me. She must have tapped my name instead of Evan's, because the message read, "Thank God we didn't invite your mother." She'd cling the whole time. "I just want peace for once. Please don't ruin this trip by making me feel guilty." I stared at the screen for so long my eyes started to burn. Cling. I hardly visited them. I never asked for anything. I stayed in my place too much. Maybe, but to her, that wasn't enough. To her, I was still a burden. I didn't reply. I didn't confront her. Instead, I sat there as tears slowly slipped down my cheeks. Not loud sobs, just quiet, exhausted tears that come from a wound deeper than anger. Later that night, while scrolling through social media, I saw Sarah's newest post, a picture of 2 champagne glasses on the cruise ship deck, the ocean reflecting the sunset. Her caption, "Finally, a week away from everything that drains me." Everything. I knew exactly who she meant. I closed my phone, placed it face down, and whispered to myself, "You don't deserve this. Not again." Because I had been made to feel like a burden before. Because I had spent too many years hiding parts of my life to make things easier for other people. Because I had secrets. big ones that my son didn't know. Secret Sierra couldn't even imagine, and the cruel irony. Those very secrets were about to change everything, not just for me, not just for Evan Dot, but for the marriage. Sierra thought she could control forever, because while she cruised through turquoise waters sipping champagne, thinking she had escaped the burden of me, she had no idea. I spent 20 years of my life uncovering the exact kind of deceit she was hiding Dot, and the second she targeted my son, those skills would come back, sharper than ever. When Evan was growing up, he thought I was just Mom, the woman who worked at the school library, made dinner every night, and tucked him in with the same old bedtime phrase, "Good night, sweetheart. You are loved." And that was true, but only half of it. There was a whole other life Evan never knew about, a life I hid because I wanted him to grow up without fear, a life I buried so deep. I prayed it would never resurface, but Sierra had no idea the woman she dismissed so easily had once been the reason federal agents closed major cases. She had no idea that while she was posting filtered selfies and cruelty-free lip gloss hauls, I had spent years digging into darker corners of the world than she could ever imagine. Asterisk, it all started when Evan's father, Mark, got sick. He was the love of my life, and losing him was like losing gravity. Every step felt heavier afterward. When cancer came for him, it came fast. Treatments drained our savings, and bills piled up like walls around me. I was drowning financially, emotionally. PHYSICLLY, I needed money. Dot. I needed stability. Needed a job that paid more than the modest librarian salary I cherished. Dot. One night, as Mark slept beside me with tubes running out of his arms, I sat at my old desktop computer applying for every remote job that didn't sound like a scam. Then one posting caught my eye, seeking analytical mind for financial anomaly review. Must be discreet. Must be comfortable working independently. Training provided. It sounded vague. It sounded strange, but it also sounded like hope. Within a week, I found myself in a small, windowless office owned by a private investigation firm that partnered with attorneys and government agencies. They trained me in forensic financial analysis, patterns, fraud detection, shell companies, offshore accounts, encrypted transactions, identity masking. It was a mountain of information, but something inside me clicked. My mind understood patterns like language. Where money flowed. A story followed, and I could read those stories better than almost anyone. Within 2 months, I wasn't just competent, I was exceptional. I worked late nights. Long after Evan fell asleep, headset on, spreadsheets open, tracing breadcrumbs criminals thought no one could see. I helped shut down a multi-million-dollar fraud ring in Nevada. I helped expose a fake charity funneling funds to a private bank in Belize. I helped track money from corporate embezzlement cases all the way to secret real estate investments hidden behind fake names. But I never told Evan, not because I was ashamed, but because the world is dark. And he was still a child who needed light. When Mark passed away, I switched fully to remote work, spending my days at the school library and my nights chasing digital footprints across continents. At the time Evan turned 18, I had saved enough to send him to college debt-free. By the time he married Sierra, I had quietly retired, packed away my encrypted laptop, and promised myself never to return to that world, never dig again, never investigate again, never lose sleep tracing someone's lies again. But the morning after Evan and Sierra left on their cruise, everything changed. I woke up early, made myself coffee, and tried to push the bitterness out of my mind. Sierra was young. Maybe she acted harshly. Maybe I was reading too much into things. I wanted to believe the best, but then my email pinged. A fraud alert from Evan's bank. His name, his account, a joint account. He put me on years ago when he traveled for work. Simply because he worried something might happen to him, and he wanted me to be safe. He must have forgotten. I still had access, the alert read. Unusual activity detected, $42,000. Transferred. My heart stopped. Evan didn't have $42,000 lying around. He and Sierra were always budgeting, always talking about saving for a house someday. They definitely didn't have that money available to casually move, especially not on the day they left for vacation. With trembling hands, I opened my old office closet. The one I never touched. Inside was the laptop I swore I'd never open again. Hesitated. For the first time since I quit. I truly hesitated, because opening that laptop meant reopening a part of myself. I had sealed away a part that wasn't soft or gentle or motherly, a part of me that was sharp, cold, analytical, part of me that saw the world not in emotions, but in patterns and lies. But the moment I pictured Evan smiling on the cruise, clueless, innocent, trusting, I powered it on the familiar. Encrypted login screen flashed out a password box one. Hadn't typed into since before Sierra even. Entered Evan's life. My fingers moved without thinking. Years of muscle memory guiding them. The laptop unlocked. Tools loaded. The programs booted. My old world reappeared. At first, I hoped it was nothing, maybe an error or an accidental transfer. Hoped Sierra wasn't behind it. I hoped my son wasn't being betrayed by the woman he loved. But the account the money went into, it wasn't one Evan ever told me about. It was under Sierra's name, and it was linked to 3 other accounts. Hidden, encrypted, foreign, Sierra wasn't just spending money. She was hiding it. My pulse thudded in my ears as I found transaction logs going back months. She had been siphoning money slowly, small amounts at first, then larger. Money from Evan, money from their joint savings, money from credit cards Evan didn't even know existed. Thousands, tens of thousands. All funneled quietly into accounts tied to a life she clearly didn't want my son to know about. And then I found the message, a receipt confirming a reservation in her name. Not for the cruise she was on, but for something scheduled 2 weeks later. A reservation for 2. In Miami. At a hotel known for couples only, but the second name wasn't Evan. It was a man I had never heard of, a man who had also wired her. $14,000 a week. Before. My breath left my chest. This wasn't carelessness. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was betrayal. Calculated. Cold. Complete. While Evan was out at sea, holding Sierra's hand under the Caribbean sun. She was planning to leave him, and she was using his money to do it. I closed my eyes, steadying myself. Sierra thought I was harmless. She had no idea what kind of woman she underestimated, because now I had proof, had patterns. I had names. I had dates. I had a trail she couldn't erase, and I was going to protect my son. No matter what it took. Didn't sleep for the rest of the night. After hearing Michael's voice, raw and shaken, my entire body felt like it was made of electricity. My heart kept pounding as if it were trying to break out of my ribcage. I must have replayed that voice note at least 10 times, trying to catch every sound behind his words, every breath he took, every tremor in his voice. He had found something, and whatever he found, he believed it was my secret. The secret I had buried deep, wrapped in guilt, locked away in a dusty cedar box in my closet. The secret I prayed would never surface. A secret that had the power to twist every memory Michael had of his childhood. But how could it be on the cruise ship, in their cabin? Miles away from me? That question was the part that terrified me the most. By morning, I was pacing the kitchen. I tried calling him, straight to voicemail. I tried texting short, simple messages, so I wouldn't sound panicked. Michael, what did you find? Are you safe? Please call me. No response. I sat at the table, staring at the steaming cup of coffee I never touched. My hands were trembling too hard to pick it up. For the first time in years, I felt like the walls around me were shrinking. My secrets were finally catching up with me, and the timing couldn't have been crueler. I shut my eyes, remembering the cedar box in my closet. It was still there, still locked, still untouched for years. So what on earth had he found? On the ship, Michael's silence continued. Around noon, I finally received a text from him. But it wasn't a message. It was a picture. A picture that made my stomach fall through the floor. It was a photograph. I recognized instantly a photo that should never have left my house. A photo that wasn't supposed to exist anymore. A photo of me holding a newborn baby that wasn't Michael. The baby I never got to keep. The one I gave up. The one I kept secret from the world. My first child. The child I never told Michael about. My breath caught in my throat. No one knew about that photo. Not my friends. Not my sister. Not even my late husband. Only I knew, and yet somehow it was on the ship. In their cabin, with my son staring at it, demanding answers. I texted him immediately. Me, Michael, where did you get that? Why do you have that picture? Please answer me. No reply. So I typed again. Me, Michael, that picture shouldn't exist. It was hidden. Please tell me what's going on. Still nothing. The minutes felt like hours. My whole body felt cold, like the blood inside me had stopped moving. My mind kept racing. Did my daughter-in-law take it? Did someone break into my house? Did Michael find it and bring it with him? But why would he hide it in the cabin? Or worse, was someone trying to expose me? Finally, my phone buzzed. A text from him. Michael, Mom, why didn't you ever tell me I had an older sibling? There it was, the question I had feared my entire adult life. My legs gave out, and I sank onto the couch, covering my mouth with my hands. How do you begin to explain something like this? How do you tell your child that when you were just 19, broken, alone, terrified, you made a decision you've regretted your entire life? How do you tell him that you once gave away a piece of yourself? But before I could type my reply, another message came. Michael, there's more. A letter addressed to me. Mom, the letter says you knew where he was. Is it true? Do I have a brother? My vision blurred. The letter, asterisk, the one I wrote years ago but never sent, the one I hid in the same cedar box. A letter I wrote on a night when regret tore me apart so violently that writing was the only way to breathe. It was supposed to stay hidden forever. But now Michael had it. And then the worst message came. Michael, Mom, she knew. Lena knew about this. She found the picture weeks ago. She said she wanted me to find out on my own on this trip. She said I deserved the truth. My heart stopped. She knew. Lena knew. My daughter-in-law, the woman who never liked me, who always kept me at a distance. She had gone through my things. She had rifled through my closet, opened my private box, stolen my most personal secrets, and then taken them onto a cruise. To confront Michael far away from me, I felt anger ignite through my entire body. Rage I hadn't felt in years. She had no right. None. Those memories were mine. Those regrets were mine. Those years of guilt, shame, and pain. They were mine to carry. She had taken my past, and turned it into her own twisted vacation surprise. A sudden call broke through my spiraling thoughts. I answered instantly. It was Michael. His voice was low, strained, almost unrecognizable. Mom, I'm coming home. I'm not staying on this ship with her. My breath held. Michael, wait, what happened? What did she say to you? I heard him exhale shakily before replying. She didn't just show me the picture, Mom. She showed me the adoption documents too. My body went cold. Adoption papers? That was impossible. No one had those. The only existing copies were sealed by the state. Michael, I whispered, barely breathing, Where did she get them? He sighed long, heavy, defeated. Mom, she hired someone, a private investigator. My world tilted. She hired someone. To dig up my past. To invade my life. To expose my secret. And she didn't even have the decency to tell me. Michael continued, his voice tight. She said she was tired of feeling like you kept secrets from her. She said she wanted everything on the table. She said she didn't want to raise a family with lies. His breath hitched. Mom, she did this behind my back. I didn't know anything until last night. I'm furious. I feel betrayed. My heart ached for him, but I kept quiet because I knew what was coming. Mom, I need to know everything. Who is he? Why did you give him up? Where is he now? And the question I feared the most, and why did you hide him from me? I closed my eyes. Tears slipped down my cheeks because I knew that part, the darkest part, wasn't just a secret. It was a wound, and the truth behind it was even worse than Michael imagined. I didn't answer Michael right away. In fact, after he asked those questions, those heavy, sharp questions that sliced straight through my chest, I couldn't speak. My throat felt tight, my breathing uneven, my mind running so fast it couldn't settle on a single thought. For 30 years, I had protected this truth, buried it, convinced myself it was gone, but now it was sitting out in the open, exposed under the harsh light of a cruise cabin thousands of miles away, in the hands of my only son, the son who believed he knew everything about me, and the daughter-in-law who wanted to paint me as a liar. After a long silence, Michael whispered, Mom, are you there? I swallowed hard. I'm here. I finally said. My voice cracked, embarrassing me. I didn't think I'd ever have to talk about this. He didn't speak, but I could feel him waiting. Hurting. Confused. And worse. Disappointed. I took a breath, steadying myself. Michael, yes, you have an older brother. The silence on the line was crushing. For a moment, all I could hear was his breathing, slow, uneven, like he was trying to accept that single sentence. The past comes back. I stood up from the couch and walked into my bedroom. My legs shook with every step. The room was dim, the curtains still closed, the air heavy with dust and old memories. I pulled down the cedar box, the same box I had guarded for decades. The same one Lena had apparently broken into. It was scratched along the edges. How many times had I held it too tightly while crying? How many times had it comforted me? How many times did I tell myself one day I would finally stop carrying this burden? I opened it. The faint smell of cedar and old paper filled the room. Inside were pieces of my past I had tried to forget. A faded hospital bracelet, a sonogram, a birth certificate stubbed. The letter I had written and never mailed. And one single photograph, the same one Michael had on the ship. Me, 19 years old, exhausted, holding a baby wrapped in a white hospital blanket. My firstborn. I began to speak. My voice shook at first, but I forced myself to continue. I didn't give him up because I didn't want him, Michael. I gave him up because I was alone. I had no support. My parents were furious when they found out I was pregnant. Your grandparents were strict. They believed I ruined their reputation. My hand trembled as I traced the edge of the photograph. The father. He left. He disappeared the moment he heard I was keeping the baby. I paused, remembering that fear, that humiliation. 19. Broke. Terrified. I knew I couldn't raise a child on my own. I didn't have a home. I didn't have money. I didn't even have a car. I sat on the bed, clutching the phone. A family, a kind couple wanted a baby. They were older and they couldn't have children. They promised he'd have a good life. A life I couldn't give him. But memory of signing those papers still haunted me. I made the hardest decision of my life. I gave him to them. I tried to steady my breathing, and not a single day passed that I didn't. think about him. I didn't forget. Him for 1 minute, not one. My voice cracked. When I married your father, I wanted to tell him. I thought about it so many times. But then things changed. We were building a life. And when you were born, Michael, a tear rolled down my cheek. I didn't want you to think I loved someone else more. I didn't want you to think you weren't enough. I heard him inhale sharply. Mom. His voice was soft, sad, but I wasn't done. I didn't know where your brother was for years. His adoption was sealed. But when you were around 9, the agency contacted me. They told me his adoptive parents passed away in an accident. Michael gasped. He went into foster care. I continued, my voice breaking. They wanted to know if I wanted to be involved. But I had just had surgery. I wasn't stable. I wasn't ready. The guilt flooded me like it always did. Thought I would fail him again. I thought I wasn't good enough, so I didn't respond. Michael was silent. I could almost feel his shock through the phone. Secret I never intended to keep. Forever I wiped my eyes. I planned to tell you eventually. Michael, truly. But every time I got close, something stopped me. I swallowed, choking on the truth. I was afraid you'd hate me. He exhaled shakily. Mom, I don't hate you. The relief nearly knocked the breath from my lungs, but before I could speak, he continued, I'm angry you didn't trust me. But I don't hate you. I needed to hear it from you. Not from Lena. His voice tightened on her name. She had no right to take your things. No right to expose this. This was your story to tell. A weight lifted off my chest, knowing he understood. But the nightmare wasn't over. Michael's voice dropped to a whisper, Mom, there's something else. I froze. When Lena showed me the documents, she didn't just bring the picture. She brought an address. My breath stopped. No, she didn't. Mom, she found him. My heart slammed against my ribs. She found my brother. I felt lightheaded. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. Not like this. Not through stolen papers and a private investigator. Michael continued, voice trembling, as she wants to meet him. My mind spun. She wants to meet him. My daughter-in-law, who could barely stand me, wanted to meet my first son before I did. Michael, I whispered, you can't. You don't even know who he is. What he knows. How he feels. He might not want contact. He might not. Michael cut me off. Mom. His voice darkened. That's not the part that scares me. I gripped the phone tighter. The investigator said something. Something we didn't expect. I swallowed. Michael, what did he say? A long pause, then, Mom. He's been looking for you. My heart dropped. Your first son. He's alive. He knows you're his mother. And he's been searching for you for years. My breath shattered. And now, Michael whispered, he wants to meet us. For a long time, I couldn't speak. I just sat there on the edge of my bed, clutching the phone like it was the only thing anchoring me to the world. Michael's breathing came through the line slow, shaky, uneven. He was waiting for me to say something, anything, but I see OULDN single quotes T. My mind was spinning. My thoughts colliding with each other so fast I couldn't untangle them. He was looking for me. He had been searching for me. My firstborn. My baby, the child, I held for just a few minutes before they took him away. The boy I thought about every single day of my life. Even when I tried not to, he was alive. He knew who I was. He had been searching for years. How do you process something like that? Finally, after what felt like a lifetime, I whispered one word. How? Michael exhaled shakily. Mom, he found you through DNA records. The investigator said he took one of those tests, one of those ancestry kits. And apparently, years ago, you took one too. My heart dropped. I remembered it. Barely. A coworker had convinced me, said it was fun, a silly thing to do. I never imagined it would lead him to me. Asterisk Michael continued. He didn't know your name at first, just that he had a biological match who lived in the same region. But he kept digging, and when Lena contacted that investigator, he immediately recognized your name. My stomach twisted. Mom, Michael said softly, he's been trying to reach you. But he didn't know where to start. I closed my eyes, a single tear slipping down my cheek. All those nights I lay awake, wondering what happened to him. All those years, I told myself, I'd ruined his life, all the guilt, all the shame, and the truth was, he had been out there looking for me. The pain of the past, Reserface Marie's, I hadn't touched in years, flooded back. Raw and vicious, the tiny hospital room, the cheap curtains. The nurse who wouldn't look me in the eye, the social worker's voice. You're doing the right thing. He'll have a good life. You're too young. But they didn't know that I had loved him the second I felt him kick. They didn't know I wanted him, that giving him up wasn't strength, it was survival. I took a shaking breath. Michael, what does he want? Michael paused, choosing his words carefully. He wants to meet you, Mom, and he wants to meet me. The words knocked the air out of me. He wants to meet you? I whispered. Yes, Michael said softly. He said he's always wondered if he had siblings. He wanted a family. He didn't grow up with anyone. My eyes burned. Of course he didn't. His adoptive parents died when he was still a boy. He bounced around foster homes, never staying long. No stability. No siblings. No parents. No wonder. He searched for me, but something didn't add up. My fear returned, sharp and gutting. Michael, how does Lena know all this? His silence was immediate and telling. She talked to him, he finally said. My breath caught. What? My voice cracked. She talked to him? Without you? Michael's anger crackled through the phone. She reached out before telling me anything. She coordinated with the investigator. She knew he found us before I did. My heart pounded. She had no right. I know, he said tightly. She hid it. She planned to surprise me on the cruise. Like this was some kind of emotional honeymoon gift. I felt sick. My private suffering, my family trauma, my deepest wound, turned into a married couple bonding activity. What kind of person does that? Michael lowered his voice. Asterisk, Mom. There's more. A chill ran through me. What now? He hesitated. He sent a message for you. My breath froze in my chest. A message? Michael swallowed. He said, he forgives you? My vision blurred instantly. Forgives me? Those two words shattered something inside me, something I had kept sealed for decades. Through tears, I whispered, he forgives me? I covered my mouth with my hand, sobbing quietly. I had never forgiven myself. Not once, but he, the child I abandoned, he forgave me. Michael let me cry for a moment before continuing, and he wants to talk to you. Not someday now, my heart thumped painfully. Now. He said he's been waiting his whole life. But moment that changed everything, I realized then that my pain wasn't the only story. Here, his pain existed too. His loneliness, his longing. His lost years. He wasn't just a secret, I was his missing piece. And now he wanted me back. Michael spoke gently. Mom, he's not angry. He just wants to know you. He wants a mother. The words hit me like a punch. He wants a mother, the son I abandoned. Wants a mother. My voice shook. Michael, I'm scared. I know, he whispered. But he's scared too. I wiped my tears. What's his name? I finally asked. Michael hesitated. His adoptive parents named him Aaron. Aaron. Hearing his name felt like a knife and a balm at the same time. Familiar yet foreign. Close yet distant. My son. Aaron. Alive. Searching. For me, forgiving me, Mom, Michael said gently. He wants to meet us when we get back. My chest tightened. Does Lena know? Yes. His tone changed, anger simmering. She wants to be part of it. She says she deserves to be included. My jaw clenched. After everything she did. Invading my privacy. Stealing my documents. Exposing my secret. Ambushing Michael. And now she deserved to be involved. But Michael continued, Mom, that's the problem. I told her I need space. I told her she crossed the line. I told her, I'm thinking about leaving the cruise early. I held my breath, and she lost it, he whispered. She started saying things about you. Terrible things. My stomach twisted. Like what? Michael sighed heavily. She said you manipulate me. She said you're hiding more secrets. She said you're not fit to meet Aaron. She said you'll ruin everything. My blood ran hot. Michael, she doesn't get to decide that. I know, he said, voice breaking. That's why I'm calling. He inhaled shakily. Mom, when I get off this ship, I want you with me. My breath stopped. With you? Yes, when we meet Aaron, I want you there. I want you beside me. Tears streamed down my face. Michael? Mom, please. I don't care what Lena wants. This is our family. You, me, and Aaron. My heart felt like it was breaking and healing at the same time. I'll be there, I whispered. Whatever happens, I'll be there. A soft, relieved breath came through the phone. Good, because he's waiting. I clutched the phone tightly. When? I asked. When does he want to meet? Michael swallowed. He said he's ready anytime. And Mom, he sent me another message. I felt my pulse quicken. What did he say? Michael's voice soft, almost trembling. He said, tell her I still want her in my life. My breath caught. My lost son. My baby. My Aaron. Still wanted me. The house was eerily quiet after Liam left the room. Only the faint hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of the floorboards filled the silence. I sank back into my chair, my hands gripping the edge so tightly that my knuckles turned white. He had asked about the secret I had buried for decades. And now it felt like the walls themselves were closing. And I had always known this moment would come. That one day, Michael would demand the truth. That one day, he would see past the carefully constructed life I had shown him. But I had hoped that I could delay it, that I could protect him from the chaos I had endured, from the decisions I had made when I was young, scared, and alone. But now there was no delay. No protection. Only exposure. The secret emerged as I closed my eyes and allowed myself to remember the past, the part of my life I had worked so hard to erase. I was 19, alone, terrified, and in love with a man who promised the world but could not even promise he would stay. I became pregnant. My parents were furious. My friends abandoned me, and the man I loved disappeared without a trace, leaving me to face the impossible decision of raising a child on my own. I had no choice. I gave him up. Not because I didn't love him, but because I couldn't provide him the life he deserved. I had thought the adoption would be final, that I would never see him, never hold him, never hear his laughter, that I would carry the guilt quietly and silently for the rest of my life. And I did until now. Michael doesn't know yet. My son needed to know everything. The truth about Aaron, the adoption, the lies I had kept, and most importantly, the danger that Sophie posed if she discovered the truth before he could process it. I began typing on my laptop, drafting a message I didn't know if I would send. Words were failing me, but I had to try. Michael, you deserve to know the full truth. There's something about your family that I haven't told you. something I tried to protect you from, and perhaps I failed. But I can't let you hear it from anyone else, not Sophie, not anyone else who might manipulate the truth. This secret is about your brother, about our past, and about decisions I made when I was young and scared. I know it's hard to understand now, but it's time you know everything. I paused, hands trembling over the keyboard. Could I tell him everything in a single message? Could words convey decades of guilt, fear, and regret? No, Dot, it had to be in person. Dot, the plan I called Liam back. His voice was weary, but the anger was gone. Now it was replaced by the same fear and uncertainty I felt. Mom, you're here, he said, voice trembling. You're not just hiding behind emails, are you? No, I whispered. I'll come to you. But you need to trust me, Liam. You need to believe that whatever I tell you is the truth, and the only thing that has ever guided me is love for you. He paused, then said quietly, Okay, I trust you, but Mom, Sophie is still there. She's planning something. I know it. I can feel it. I nodded. Though he couldn't see me, I felt the weight of his words deep in my bones. I know, I said. But when I'm with you, we'll figure this out together. I promise. The confrontation loom's eye knew that the moment I returned, Sophie would sense the change. She would see that I wasn't afraid, that I had no intention of letting her manipulate the narrative anymore. And she would fight back. She always did. But this time, I wasn't a scared young mother. This time, I wasn't alone. Michael and I would stand together. And Aaron, he would be part of this story soon. The thought of finally meeting him, the son I had held only briefly, the son I had mourned every day for decades, sent a shiver down my spine. Would he hate me? Would he forgive me? Would he even want a mother? I didn't know, but I had to try. A hidden message. I glanced at the stack of unopened mail I had ignored for weeks. Most of it was bills or junk, but one envelope caught my eye. It had no return address. I hesitated, then tore it open. Inside was a letter in precise, neat handwriting. If you want to see your son safely, you must meet me first. He is in danger. Trust no one but yourself. A friend. My hands shook. A friend? Or a warning? The truth was clear. Aaron wasn't just someone lost to adoption. Someone was trying to control this reunion, to manipulate it. And Sophie? I felt my stomach twist. She was closer than I realized to knowing the truth. Too close. The decision I had to act. I had to meet Liam and face Sophie, face the consequences, and protect my son and my future. I packed a small bag, just enough for a weekend. Laptop, charger, documents, the photograph of Aaron that Michael had sent me earlier. I rehearsed what I would say. Each word had to be exact, carefully chosen. There was no room for error. One wrong sentence, and Sophie could twist it, destroy trust, and ruin the fragile path I was trying to build. I called Liam. I'm leaving now, I said firmly. Stay calm. Don't engage Sophie. I'll handle this. He hesitated. Mom, are you sure? I inhaled slowly. Yes, I have to do this. It's time the mask falls off for good. The roads were empty, the early morning mist curling like smoke around the streetlights. Every mile closer to Liam's condo felt heavier, as if the air itself was thick with anticipation and fear. I thought about Aaron. About the life I hadn't been able to give him, about the years lost, and I realized something. Even though I had failed in the past, I wasn't failing anymore. I would fight for my son, I would fight for my family, and I would reclaim the truth that was rightfully mine to tell, because secrets, no matter how deeply buried, always come to light, and when they do, the consequences are unstoppable. The condo door clicked behind me, and I felt the familiar heavy weight of anxiety settle on my shoulders. Liam was waiting in the living room, pacing slowly, jaw tight. His phone sat on the coffee table, the screen glowing faintly from the text messages he had been sending silent, desperate pleas to me to hurry. "Mom," he said softly, voice low, almost broken. "She knows you're coming." I didn't flinch. I had anticipated this. "She'll find out," I said quietly. "But she won't control what happens. Not today. Not ever again." He nodded, though his hand trembled slightly as he reached for mine. I could feel the tension in his grip, the mixture of relief and fear. "I've never seen her like this," he admitted. "She's always so calm, calculated. But now she's panicked. You showing up, it's thrown her off." I looked at him, eyes narrowed. "She underestimated me," I said, "and that's her first mistake." Arriving at the cruise terminal, we pulled into the terminal. The massive ship loomed above us, gleaming white and silver in the morning sun. Families hustled past with luggage, excited for their vacations. But all I could focus on was her, the woman who had stolen our past, manipulated our present, and threatened the future of our family. Michael followed close behind, his expression taut. The tension radiating from him matched mine. Together, the three of us moved toward the entrance, every step deliberate, and then I saw her, Sophie, standing near the concierge desk, arms crossed, eyes scanning the crowd. She looked elegant, composed, but I could see the flicker of panic in her eyes the moment she noticed us. She had thought she was in control. She had thought she had everything mapped out. She had no idea what was coming. The confrontation. She saw me first. Her lips pressed into a thin line, and for a moment I felt the thrill of power. The woman who tried to make me invisible now had nowhere to hide. "Mom," Liam whispered, "just don't give her an excuse." I didn't respond. Instead, I stepped forward, shoulders back, head held high. Michael followed, positioning himself slightly behind me, protective but calm. Sophie's eyes darted between us. She opened her mouth, probably to lecture, threaten, or manipulate, but I spoke first. "Stop." It was one word, one command, and it was enough. She faltered. I continued. "This ends today. The lies, the control, the manipulation. It's over." Her eyes narrowed. "You don't get to tell me." "I do," I interrupted firmly. "Because this isn't about you anymore. This is about truth, about family, about my son. You had no right to dig into my life, to expose secrets, or to try and control who my family sees." She laughed nervously, a sound that didn't reach her eyes. "You think you're the victim here?" She snapped. "You've manipulated Liam for years. He's still mine." Michael stepped forward. "No, he's ours. And you've crossed every line." Her composure cracked. For the first time, the mask fell off. Panic replaced arrogance. Anger replaced control. "You can't do this," she hissed. "I'll make him choose me." "Choice?" I echoed, voice icy. "He already chose. He chose truth. He chose family. And you've lost that right." The revelation of Aaron, it was time. The truth could no longer wait. "Michael," I said, turning to him, "you need to know. Aaron isn't just a memory. He's real. And he's alive. He's been searching for us. And Sophie, you think you control this reunion? You have no control over the past, the truth, or the bond between a mother and her son." Sophie's face paled. Her breathing quickened. What? What are you talking about? You manipulated everything to be about you?" I said calmly. "But the only thing that matters now is Aaron, and he wants to meet his family, us. Not you." Her lips trembled. She wanted to argue, to yell, to reclaim control, but she knew. She could see it. She could feel it. She had underestimated me, and she knew she had lost. Liam's hand found mine. "Mom, I believe you," he said softly. "Whatever happens, I'm with you." Michael stood tall, She can't stop this, he said. Not anymore. And in that moment, the air shifted. Sophie's authority over us, the fear she had planted, the tension she had cultivated, it all dissolved. She was exposed, vulnerable, human, and powerless. The call from Aaron, my phone, buzzed in my pocket. It was a video call from Aaron. My heart pounded. My hands shook. And yet I felt a strange calm. This was the moment I had waited 30 years for. Mom? His voice was cautious, almost unsure. But it carried hope. It's me, I whispered, tears forming in my eyes. Aaron, I'm here. He appeared on the screen taller than I remembered from the photograph, older than the baby I had held, but unmistakably my son. His eyes, so like mine, searched mine. Mom, is it really you? Yes, I said, voice cracking. It's really me, and I've missed you every day of my life. Michael and Liam stood behind me, their presence steady and reassuring. Aaron's face broke into a tentative smile. I've waited so long, he said softly. I didn't know if I'd ever find you, but I'm here, and I want to meet you. I want to know you. Tears streamed down my face as I whispered, I want that too, more than anything. I want you in my life, and I promise I'll never leave you again. Sophie's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. She had lost control. The truth, love, and connection between a mother and her son were stronger than any manipulation. She could muster. And for the first time in decades, I felt free. The calm after the storm, the three of us, Michael, Liam, and I stood together. Watching Sophie retreat, her dominance dissolved. The truth had triumphed. And soon, Aaron would be part of our lives, a living reminder that love and family always find a way. I took a deep breath. This was only the beginning. But the hardest part, the confrontation, the exposure, the reckoning was over. And for the first time, I felt hope. Real hope. Sophie didn't walk away from the confrontation, she fled. Heels clacked sharply across the marble floor of the terminal, each step louder, faster, more chaotic than the last. For someone who had spent years pretending she was composed, elegant, and above everyone else, seeing her unravel so completely almost felt surreal. But while she may have retreated physically, her presence, the damage she'd done, the tension she'd created still lingered like a storm cloud refusing to clear. Liam watched her go with a strange mixture of relief and grief. She's not going to let this go, he said softly. No, I replied, but that doesn't mean she'll win. The truth was, the power she'd once held over all of us, especially Liam, had cracked. And once control is broken, it never fully returns. The waiting room truths, the cruise terminal had a small waiting lounge. It was quiet, too quiet for the chaos we had just lived through. Families with suitcases sat around us, unaware they were witnessing the collapse of a marriage and the rebirth of a family. Liam rubbed his hands together, staring at the floor. Mom, I feel like my whole marriage was a lie, he whispered. I reached over and squeezed his hand. Not a lie, I said gently. Just built on things she hid from you. Built on control. On fear. But that doesn't mean you were wrong for loving her. He swallowed hard. I still feel like I failed. You didn't fail, I said firmly. She failed you. Michael, standing at our side, nodded. Double quotes. She pushed you away from us. She used fear, guilt, manipulation. But you still fought for us. You're here. That's what matters. Liam exhaled, shoulders slumping. I don't know what to do now. You take time, I said. You breathe. And then you decide your next steps. Before he could respond, the terminal doors opened again and Sophie walked back inside. But she wasn't alone. Her mother was with her. A cold, severe-looking woman with sharp eyes and a posture that screamed judgment. She spotted us instantly and marched forward like she owned the building. The mother-in-law's fury, her voice echoed through the lounge before she even reached us. You, she shouted, pointing at me as if I were some criminal she had caught. People turned. Mom, Sophie hissed. Please, no. Her mother barked. I will not stay silent while this woman destroys my daughter's marriage. I stayed seated, calm, let them rage, Liam tense beside me. Mrs. Turner, don't you Mrs. Turner me, she snapped. Your mother has poisoned your mind. She always interferes, always makes everything about her. And now she's using this ridiculous story about a secret son to undermine Sophie. Michael stepped forward before I could speak. It's not a story, he said sharply. It's the truth. She laughed, a loud, dismissive laugh that made my skin crawl. Oh, please. A hidden son? Conveniently brought up at the exact moment Sophie stands up for herself. Give me a break. Liam's jaw tightened. You don't know anything about my mother, he said, voice trembling with anger. And you don't know anything about mine. Sophie snapped back. She told me everything, how your mother guilted you your whole life, how she pits you against me. That's enough, I finally said. My voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the argument like a blade. Stood up slowly intentionally. You have no idea what you're talking about, I said quietly. You don't know the sacrifices I've made, the choices I had to live with, the son I had to give up. You don't know a single thing about me or about the pain I've carried. Her mother stepped closer, eyes cold. You're lying, she spat. No, I said, meeting her gaze without flinching. For 30 years, I stayed silent. I hid the truth because I didn't want to burden anyone. I didn't want to complicate my family's life. I lived with guilt every day of my life. So don't you dare accuse me of manipulating anyone. A hush fell over the lounge. Even Sophie looked shaken. Seconds later, my phone buzzed again, another video call from Aaron. I turned the screen so they all could see, and there he was, alive, real, undeniable. Mom? He said softly. Sophie's mother blinked. Her jaw dropped. The color drained from her face. I heard a whisper from someone in the lounge. Oh my God. She wasn't lying. Sophie stepped back like she had been slapped. Her voice cracked as she whispered, You really had a son? Yes, I said gently, a son I lost. A son I found. A son who wants to be part of our lives. Sophie looked at Liam, searching for something, fear, confusion, anger, but she found none. All she found was clarity, determination, she had lost him. The final break, Liam turned to Sophie, his voice steady. Sophie, I can't do this anymore. She froze. What do you mean? I mean the lies, the control, the way you treat my family, the way you twist everything. He took a shaky breath. I've loved you for years. I've tried so hard to make things work. But you don't love me, you love control. That's not true. She cried. You're leaving me for her. No, he said softly. I'm leaving because of you. Sophie's mother stepped forward, outraged, but Liam held up a hand. No, stop. This is between us. Sophie shook her head violently. No, Liam, please, don't do this. I don't want a divorce, he said carefully, but I need space. I need time. And I need you to respect my boundaries, which you've never done. Her sobs echoed across the room, but Liam didn't waver. He turned toward me. Mom, can we go home? My heart broke and healed at the same time. Of course. I whispered. Sophie collapsed into a chair, her mother wrapping an arm around her. For the first time, the two of them looked. Small. Powerless. Human. Aftermath. The drive home was silent, but not tense. Not fearful. Just. Quiet. A healing quiet. Liam stared out the window. Mom, he said gently, thank you. For what? I asked softly. For the truth, he whispered, and for not giving up on me even when I pushed you away. I took his hand again. I never will. Michael smiled at him in the rearview mirror. You've got a whole new chapter coming, he said. And it's going to be good, Liam exhaled. Yeah, he murmured. Maybe it is. 3 weeks later, a new family errand flew out to meet us. The moment he stepped off that plane and into my arms, I felt 30 years of guilt melt away. He wasn't angry. He wasn't resentful. He was grateful, excited, nervous, and he hugged me like he had known me forever. Liam met him with a genuine smile, a brother finally meeting the person he never knew he missed. Michael embraced him. We cried. We laughed. We healed. As for Sophie, she moved back in with her mother temporarily. She sent Liam angry texts at first, then desperate ones, then silent ones. But Liam didn't crumble. He didn't run back. He didn't apologize for things he didn't do. He grew. He found himself again, and he began to see what love should feel like. Not chains, but wings. Final lines. My secret became our strength. I spent years hiding my secret because I thought it would break my family. But in the end, it saved us. Sophie's lies shattered. Liam reclaimed his life. Michael gained a brother, and I got a second chance at motherhood. Not even a cruise, a jealous daughter-in-law, or 30 years of silence could destroy the bond we found again, because truth, no matter how painful, always brings freedom. And love, real love, always finds its way back home. If you love this story, subscribe for more stories. Show your love by like my videos and tell me about your thoughts in comment section *.